I think that there's great danger in this country because of the fact that so much of our economy is geared in the military area. There is grave danger of a military industrial alliance of a kind actually affecting policy. Now, Vietnam is the case in point. Not the only place, because we're spending $50 billion a year outside of Vietnam for military. And I do think that having dropped more bombs on Vietnam than were dropped by all the Allied powers in World War II in tonnage on that small country. I mean, to me, it's just how silly can you get?
Now, the sad fact is, history will record that the United States was an aggressor in Tonkin Bay. We were violating the rights of North Vietnam. They had no right to proceed on the second day to ourselves bomb North Vietnam.
Every day, someone jumps up and shouts and says, "Tell us what is happening in Vietnam and why are we in Vietnam and how did you get us into Vietnam?" I didn't get you into Vietnam. You've been in Vietnam 10 years.
He replaced that by appointed village chiefs. Now, when the Viet Cong assassinated village chiefs, they were not at all village chiefs, but people who were not belonging there. And it was a scandal to a village that were then there.
We put over about 3 million of them into what I would call a concentration camp. They call it a refugee center. Got barbed wire around it, you can't get out of it. We're taking these people from the graves of their ancestors, from their rice beds. And we say, oh, well, we pacified X million people. Yeah, we pacified some more people, but put them in these camps.
I'll grind this up in a hurry. I know many people have said, look, we've killed innocent people. Our bombs have killed civilians and babies and mothers. And I suppose there is truth to that. There have been people that have been killed. But your government has not bombed civilians. Your government has not bombed open cities. Your government has sent its bombers in after targets, military targets that have been placed in an area surrounded by civilians.
How do you destroy this much rice?
The demo man usually blows it up.
You're gonna blow it up, are you?
But what occurs when you engage in a search and destroy is the destruction, the needless destruction of innocent civilians. Now, you might say that they're all part of the entire communist apparatus. But the feature is that if we are going to prevent this war from degenerating into a genocidal activity, then our attempt would be to rehabilitate or to wean those folks away from the communists rather than to destroy them. This is what search and destroy becomes in a very practical sense.
Brought out during this whole testimony is that it's a general policy and not an isolated incident. We're trained from basic training, AIT and OCS, to kill, and that's what we're out there to do. It would be impossible with our background to go into a village and kill a woman and child unless we looked at those people as non-humans. And because of the service, and because of the military establishment, that's how we look at the Vietnamese.
They even went so far as to say that the only good group is a dead group. They said you can't trust them, you can't trust any of these swine-eyed bastards because none of them are no good.
These prisoners are not being mistreated. They are being handled in accordance with the provisions of the Geneva Convention.
The prisoners were executed in our outfit as a standard policy.
Everybody had the same idea. They got the same impression from it. You know, this is going to be a free-for-all. You can shoot anything you want, anything that moves, as long as he's not one of your own.
But shoot everything, man, woman, children, and the whole bit, everything that could aid the VC, you know, every living thing. That was sort of like the order, from the way I heard it.
The soldiers began to shoot and to throw grenades onto them, and some also used machine guns. Among them, there were 21 pregnant women. My parents, my wife, my eldest brother, one of my sisters, and 5 nieces and nephews were killed.
I tried to develop this crust or this shield or force or whatever it was. I really tried hard. I talked to guys that had, guys that could laugh at this, to try to formulate some way, to help myself or to instill this within myself. And I couldn't do it. There was one child there, and they hadn't harmed her. She was a very small child, and one of the officers said that she could inform the Kong. And I didn't want to help him. I didn't mind helping my fellow man, but I didn't want to help him with that. But I mean, what can you do when someone puts a gun to your head? So I killed the child.
Just proud. My feeling for America just soared because of the way they looked. They looked determined and reverent at the same time, but still they're a bloody good bunch of killers.
My testimony will deal with the gassing of hungry children, the use of scout dogs on innocent civilians, the indiscriminate leveling of villages, killing of livestock, pollution of water supply. In other words, they made it totally impossible for these people to live in their ancestral homeland again.
An officer, the lieutenant said, well, go in and kill everyone. If you don't kill them, I'm going to watch you all day, and if you don't kill everyone, that you can just shot yourself.
What? Every 10 years, this country has to have a war. So many people have to die, and it's a dirty shame.
In every war that they say we fight to stop communism, it doesn't seem right because, after all, Russia hasn't lost a man. Look what we've lost.
It's your politicians, too, that have to take a good portion of this blame, because I think there's a lot of them that get a certain percentage of these defense contracts and things that go out, and I think there are a lot of politicians that are involved in this, and they get their cut, and this is what's just prolonging everything.
I got hit by a piece of General Motors shrapnel, from an 81 mortar. They dug it out of my leg, and it said GM, and it had the numbers on it and everything, So General Motors is making mortars, man. That's what else can I tell you? They're making money for, that's what it's all about. Like, they're supposed to be making cars.
Obvious that the war is, so many things in the war are fixed around the dollar. Somebody's making money, okay? And I don't want people making money off of me.
Well, that's true. Money is being made left and right, and that's why I think this war is being prolonged.
Mr. President, in view of subsequent events, do you regret your decision to invade Cambodia?
What I regret about my decision to invade Cambodia was that I didn't do it sooner.
He's also somebody, usually I say, have you ever been in the Oval Office? And with Henry Kissinger, I didn't bother asking that question because he has been in this office many, many times.
If we look at a case like this, I think we have to start talking about putting Guatemalan and U.S. officials on trial. I think someone like Mr. Abrams would be a fit subject for such a Nuremberg-style inquiry. But I agree with Mr. Abrams that Democrats would have to be in the dock with him. The Congress has been in on this. The Congress approved the sale of 16,000 M16s to Guatemala.
It is ludicrous to respond to that kind of stupidity. This guy thinks we were on the wrong side of the Cold War. Maybe he personally was on the wrong side. I am one of the many millions of Americans.
Mr. I don't we're on the wrong side in supporting the massacre of peasants in Oregon.
What I want to do is I want to ask the
absolutely, and that's a crime. That's a crime, Mr. Abrams, which people should be tried.
I want to law.
And the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Iraq. Of Ukraine. Iraq. Anyway.
An $850 billion budget to an organization that can't pass an audit and tell you where that money went. I think most people would consider that somewhere in the realm of waste, fraud, or abuse.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.